Welcome back. Today we're doing it again our Divide Daily video. This time I will be talking about all the perks. First, I'll go with all the ones I have. Chick has all the perks unlocked already, so I'll go with step by step. So let me just go to that first page. Now, I'll tell you like if the perk needs to be changed or if it's fine how it is. So, this is for all survivor perks. First, I'll go through all the perks down here, and you guys can read it too, so it's easier. And then I'll go to characters in the store and show you all the other survivor perks I don't have yet, but from my experience of playing with it against. First is adrenaline. Um, it's good. I don't think it's super insane though. Maybe the only thing that really is troubling about it is that it exit gates, but honestly, besides that, is pretty powerful. Um, Maybe one thing they could change is maybe your scratch marks will be hidden too. Because I think if they just add that slight thing in there, it'll be great. I think it could be good. But I mean, it's still not too bad of a perk. It's probably doesn't need a change, but if it does, it probably just be to hide scratch marks. Now, aftercare is probably just fine how it is. Um, and it has a counter of like when you get hooked, all the things are gone. But I think maybe it also could be like if someone's partly healing you, maybe they can have their aura revealed too. But honestly, I don't think this needs to change. Balance landing also just doesn't need to change. It's just map, like it's for certain maps. That's all. But it's fine how it is. Nothing about this needs to be changed. It's perfectly alright. Bond probably needs a buff because only 36 meters isn't that much. Because if you're running around, you'll probably have a better perk on that, like aftercare, for instance. But if I had to change this, I would just include it to be like 36, 46, and 56 meters. I think that would be better. And I think that'd probably make it more usable. These are just like auras are rarely used at all. Surgery and healing, it is a tad overpowered. I would get rid of the self heal at 50% normal. I probably put it at like 35% normal healed, same as self care, to make it balanced. And then if someone heals you, do get the 20 speed boost too, or 50 healing speed bonus. So that's how I do it, because it is still a little overpowered at 50% normal speed. Exponential, the thing is, you have to have this with R1, and it's not a super bad one either. If I had I'd probably just make it like 75, 100%, and then 125% to increase it just a bit. And I think then it would probably maybe a little more used. But it's still like there's not much you can change about this to make it like not so good. You could combine these two perks with, but that might not be the best. Shadow Step probably needs its lingers increased by, I would say, like maybe 4, 6, 8. Because right now, when you're in it, it's fine. After you leave, if you're still in a chase, the killer won't rely on your scratch marks. It's only after you like do a dodge around corner that matters. So having that extra 4 seconds would increase its use in the realm. Brawl time is perfect how it is, especially if it's rework a little bit. It's better now. It's definitely balanced, not too much. This is probably this is not super helpful if I'm honest. How I would change it, it's quite simple. Keep the healing speed at 50%, but add healing item efficiency and add it to 20%, but not reduced, and increase it. And I think that would make it so that people used it more. But that one's just like the reduced feature is just useless. No one needs that. Like, no one wants that. Breakdown's also perfect how it is. It's very, very good. Very few people use it, so it's not super overpowered. If everyone uses it, then it could be a little broken. But for the most part, half the maps, the hooks, two hooks are close together. So if you unhook someone and knock another person, and next to that hook, you go to the other one. It's not too good, not too bad or overpowered. And the killer's ore is pretty good too. So seconds, it's just enough that you can see it and everything. Bugle up definitely needs a buff, definitely. It's pretty weak. I don't think I've ever used it because it's just super weak. I'd probably give you an increase in healing speed, and I'll also increase the distance. I'll probably do it so that it's maybe 58 meters at max. Yeah, I had like maybe a 50% healing speed or 25, 35 healing speed bonus to healing people from dying state. And then the killer's ore is still pretty good. I don't think that needs to be changed. I think that's fine, but just the other part is definitely not the best. You wouldn't really need it in any situation for 8 meters. Calm Spirit is it's fine. I don't think it needs a buff or a nerf. To be honest, I'd rather they change it a little bit to maybe when a killer walks by a crow, that crows also, or the crows give like a visual clue, maybe, because that could be it. But this probably doesn't need change. It's pretty fine how it is. I don't think it. I don't think a lot of people use it, but it's definitely not bad. It's definitely not overpowered. So I'd say it's fine how it is. Clairvoyance, it's good. It's very good perk. It's just no one uses it because there's other ones that are better. Like, especially with how totems are now. It's definitely a decent one. I'd say it probably doesn't need to be. I don't think it needs to be changed. Maybe increase the time from 10 seconds to 15 seconds at most. Maybe that will help it out. But otherwise, it's probably just fine. It's just not used. Corrective action definitely needs, I would say, a rework. I think it should be that with 3 tokens every time someone misses a skill check, even if you're not on, if you're on a gen and someone misses a skill check, even if it's not on your gen but other gen, that will be consumed and exposure is prevented too. I think that would make it more useful because, like, very rarely will you get a person that messes up with you. It happens, but it's not like, see, it says a maximum of 5. It's not going to happen 5 times in a game. That'd be super rare to happen. So this is just not really useful as it is currently. It needs a rework. Dark Sense is probably a good perk. 24 meters is a lot of killers like heartbeat, so it's not the best of perk. I mean, before is definitely more powerful, but I'd say right now it's balanced and it doesn't need a buff. 10 seconds is still pretty good. Dead Hard, it's still pretty good. I don't think it needs a change at all. If I had to change something, it'd probably be the exhaustion increase, but honestly, most of it's 40, so it's fine. It's perfectly balanced. Decisive Strife needs a buff. It's going to probably be one of those weird ones, but I don't think that if the I think besides that the perk its effects are stable that after the exit gates are powered, I'd say it's pretty fine. But I think that just needs to go away because I think that is what makes it really bad at the moment. Like, everything else on it sounds good. 60 seconds, stunning them for 3. But just like the bottom is not that good. Deja Vu, it's not, it's just a weird one. I mean, I'd like that it gives something to the maps, so I think because it gives something to the maps, it's probably fine. Maybe I'd increase it to 7% max of its speed bonus. But it's just not, it's just like a map. Otherwise, if you don't have a map, it's not useful. If you have a map, it's pretty fine. It's pretty fine. Distortion's fine, doesn't need any changes. It's perfectly good. It's great. Empathy also doesn't need change. 128 meters, pretty good. Flip flop, I would probably does need a slight buff, and I would not do anything in the maximum wiggle progression, but I would do something about the dying state so that it's like 75% of your recovery progression into the wiggle state. And the reason why that needs to be increased because if you have this perk, you're not trying to get up, you're just trying to increase your wiggle chance of escaping then. So that just needs a slight buff. Maybe even 65 would be better, but 50-50 isn't super good. For the people, pretty balanced. I think 60 seconds is still a little long. I would say probably 50 seconds would probably be better. Just a slight nerf right there. Everything else on it is pretty fine. Yeah, I don't think this needs too much of a rework or a nerf or a buff. Guardian needs a slight buff. I think it should be 10 seconds. Because what could happen is a killer sees you, even though you don't have any parks of blood or anything, so I think 8 seconds would increase it, but everything else is perfectly fine. Maybe you and the killer sees the world, maybe. Hope. Hope is fine. I do see occasional survivors do it, but it's honestly not a super useful perk. Maybe when all gens are done, if it got on, that'd be a little better. But it's still not like super annoying, so it's perfectly fine how it is. Inner healing is also fine. It also uses a totem, so it's perfectly fine. 8 seconds, that's great. Iron Will, I just get rid of the exhaustion thing. I think that's just, I don't think that's useful. What I would do is actually get rid of that last part, and I would have it so that does not function while in chase. That way the killer could still hear you while in chase. If he loses you for a quarter, you still make the noise. But once you're out and you're not in a chase anymore, your pains are reduced. I think that'd be way better. And I also think it would like make the doctor a little better too against him. But yeah, this strategy just gets rid of that part. Kindred is fine, perfectly balanced, nothing needs change. It's great. Kinship definitely needs a buff in its range. It needs to be, I'd say, 24. And everything else. Because right now, you don't really use it. Especially with other perks that are better. But if you have this, if you're instead of just running 24 meters, then it can pause. And then it can make killers a little more like if you're in a chase, you just run by and pause it. So, leader is a tough one. I'd say that should affect you too, because I don't think it affects you. I think it's just everyone else. So I think if it affected you too, it'd be balanced, and then you can even nerf it from 25% to 15 and still be fine. Left behind, 32 is just not enough because you usually hear the hatch from like maybe 12 meters, so you won't really rely on this. I just increased it to like 42, just a slight buff, and it'd make more people use it. Lightweight, honestly, it probably needs a 1 second nerf. I think 5 seconds, it makes it overpowered. 4.5 seconds might it'd be better, but if you guys don't know how this works, literally as you're running, you have 1 second behind you and it disappears. That's how it is. So it's very good, but I think it's a little broken. It needs a slight nerf, but not to 3 seconds, okay? Because that would just be useless. Live perfectly balanced. Most of these types are. Metal Man is too restrictive. 3 protective hits is just. If it was something else, the protective hits, it could be better. Like if it was safe hook rescue 2, that would be better. I think they probably should just add that. Then everything else would be fine. Also, it also says your killers are real, but does have a like an end of that. So I think if they had like a timer too, because I think it deactivates once you're put in dying state again. So maybe it reveals your aura for let's say 20 seconds. That way you can see the killer, but after that you're good. No Mither. It needs its recovery speed increased. I would say to 35. It needs its injuries probably 75 is good, and everything else is fine. It's just after increased speed, what's down, it's probably very good. No One Left Behind is an interesting one. I think right now it's fine. I think its effects are a little annoying that you have to wait till the gates are powered, but it could be. It's decent and it's good enough that it's fine. I think it's also like a very situational one, but if you have this in was it Hope, it'd be good. So I don't think this needs to change at all. Object Possession needs a slight change, and it might sound crazy, but I think it needs its seconds increased to 5 seconds, and maybe even increase it to like maybe 40 seconds too, because 3 seconds will give you the like 6 bonus healing or repairing for like 1 second. Like it's really like because you barely see it. If other ones it could be good, but right now it's not. Perfect balance doesn't need to happen and doesn't need any change. It's perfectly fine. Overcome also pre-balanced 2 seconds. It could use a slight buff to 3, but still it's pre-balanced. Doesn't need a change at all. Plundered, it's very situational, even though I'm using it, but it's probably balanced too, if I'm honest. Premonition is also pre-balanced. It's pretty good of a perk. It's kind of useless if you have the Spine Shield on, because they're very similar. So, maybe increase the range a bit, and that might be a little better. Prime Cells balance doesn't need a change. It doesn't work on nearly every other survivor, so it's pre-balanced. Quick and Quiet's also a pre-balance thing. 20 seconds does affect exhaustion. It probably doesn't need any change at all. Red Herring needs a change, or it needs a rework. What I would actually do for Red Herring is once you get 3 seconds on Gen, instead of that Gen being with a yellow aura and then you enter a locker makes a noise, when you enter a locker, a Gen that isn't worked on by a survivor, like that isn't being worked on by a survivor, gets triggered. That way the killer goes to one that no one's even at, waste time. And I think that'd be better. Renewal, it's very situational. I don't see a lot of people use it right now. If I had to do anything about it, I'd probably make it so that you heal one survivor, or you unhooked one survivor by one health state, maybe, or like you unhook 2 survivors or heal survivor at one health state, then it activates, because that might be better. Just adding more things to it. Silence balance doesn't need any change. It sounds like very little, but you could pair the no middle right here, and it's pretty balanced. Saboteur, probably balanced. It doesn't really need a change. I'd say maybe that it's like it really, maybe it's a little longer. Like it adds like one more second of being gone. That might be a little better, but honestly, if they don't change it, it's fine, balanced. Self-aware, probably needs a 30% walking speed, I would say. That'd be better. I mean, scratch marks are good. They also, I know there's other part that allows you to see other survivor scratch marks, but I don't know. There's not much you can do with this. It's pretty situational, not too bad. Self-care needs a buff. I'd say 45% normal healing speed, because I would nerf the boon of healing and increase this one, giving this one an advantage. This one also really doesn't need maybe it buffed to its range, so it's like 50 meters, so that survivors could go to you. But it's pretty fine, doesn't need a change. Slippery Meat, also fine, doesn't need a change. Small Game, pretty fine. I would say doesn't need a change either. It's pretty balanced. Soul Survivor, I'd say it's fine. I think it's fine. I would actually switch it up a bit. If they don't change it, it's perfectly balanced. But if they did, I would change it so that each survivor hooks gives you a slight bonus to the ones. Like, And one star gives you 50% when repairing a generator and 5% opening the hatch or the exit gate. And then every time a survivor dies, just increase that a bit. And that'd make it a little more usable. And a lot of people would use it more. Spine chill. Yeah, see, this is like 36 meters, but then it gives you increased speed. Yeah, if you're looking at it, it's perfectly fine. And it's a little overpowered, to be honest, but it's probably balanced. Sprint burst balanced. Street light's also probably a little balanced too. I think it does you and ally. So this is pretty balanced. This is not happening. It's just not useful. You don't really use it. But if you were, it would be that bad of a perk. Maybe 40% bigger, but otherwise it's probably just fine how it is, just not used. Unbreakable, also fine, just not used. Doesn't need a change. Urban Evasion, fine, doesn't need a change at all. We'll make it also fine, doesn't need change at all whatsoever. It's perfectly fine. It may increase the time to 100 seconds, but even if they don't, it's perfectly balanced. We're going to live forever. Probably fine. It's if you get tunnel campers, so it's very situational with other perks, but it's not that bad. It's very good. Alright, and that's all the perks here. So after this, we're going to go to the survivors, and we're going to go to this survivor, what I don't have. Better than you. The target's ready to see Buzz Heon. It's probably fine, just a little it's probably just a little like weird of a perk to have, but it's fine. It's balanced. Reassurance also pretty fine. It's actually pretty good. Maybe a little overpowered. I'd probably nerf the time maybe to like 25 seconds, but even if they don't, it's balanced. Hyper Focus is honestly one that's seen a lot live day recently. So I think this is how they've done it now is pretty balanced, especially with other perks. So I'd say it's fine, doesn't need a change. Wire Trap also fine. It's actually a very good perk. So when it enters the aura of it, you can see it. So it's actually pretty good. And it lasts a decent amount of time too. This one is very weird, but I mean, I guess it's fine. It's probably very good of a perk. I mean, 32 meters is long enough, and it's increasing you. If I had to change anything, maybe I'd make it 36 meters, just a slight increase, but it's pretty balanced how it is. This was also pretty balanced. When like you hide, you hide your stretch marks, pulls of blood, and cries of pain for 90 seconds after your last one alive. I think this one's extremely good. It doesn't need a buff, but actually needs a nerf, and make it 80 seconds like off the record. Inner Focus is a weird one. I guess it's balanced. It doesn't make a lot of sense though. You see other scratch marks. Okay, that's a nice one. When a killer loses a health state within 32 meters, the killer's aura is revealed to you for 5 seconds. I don't know about that one. I mean, it's probably balanced. It just is a weird one that you'll never use. This one also, it's just a weird one that you'll never really use. It gives the killer the blindness effect, but it's not like super annoying or like super useful. It's balanced though how it is. It's 36 isn't long, but it's balanced. Overzealous is also a pretty balanced one. It's actually a very situational one, but it is a pretty good if you click the Hex Totem and get that 16% bonus speed to repair. It's very good, and it's balanced too. Parental Guidance is a weird one. I suppose it could be very good, except that its time is just so short. I would increase its time to 10 seconds. And that's just it. Everything else is fine, just 10 seconds. And this one's weird. I guess it's fine though. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, 10 seconds healing faster, and also they see your aura, so I think if you could see their aura too, like switch, it'd be better. And I think that all I did change it. Otherwise, it's fine. This was just very bad. It's not even close to being good. Like, they want this to become even remotely good, they would increase its linger effect to like maybe 10, 12 seconds. Otherwise, it's just not useful in any capacity. I don't think I've ever played with this on because 2% is just not enough to actually matter that much. And for 4 seconds after leaving, it's even worse. If they increase the leaving effect, it'd probably be decently. Bite the bullet. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's probably balanced too. It's pretty good perk. It doesn't need a change. It's fine. I'd say it's probably one of the most balanced ones. Flashbang also fine. It's pretty good. Rookie Spirit, it's a weird one, but I guess it's fine. I think it's a little weird. You have to get 3 good or great skill checks, but I mean that's not hard to do. So I'd say it's balanced and fine. Counter Force, it's weird, but I think it's could work as good or worse than was it the other totem perk that gives you a low notification. So I think it's pretty good. This one just is like a great perk. And once they added it, it was actually truly good because healing progression after unhooking, it's just so good. It decreases your amount of time by a lot. If I had to do anything, I'd probably increase 75 just because how rare it is, but it doesn't need to be changed. It's perfectly balanced. Blast Mine, honestly, like, it's just like the third blinding thing, and it's kind of weird. But also, it's not broken at all, so it's also just balanced. Fast Track is weird. But I guess it's fine. It's like only 1% bonus to healing, on generators or like getting 1% progress, so it's not too powerful. But you get 3 totems every hook, so it's pretty good too. This one's honestly like a very rare perk to find, but it's probably a very good one too and balanced. 4 seconds is just so long, but no one uses it. It's accuracy perk, but probably balanced. And this one makes no sense. I have no idea why anyone would ever use this. It makes no sense whatsoever. Your scratch marks, pools of blood, and grunts of pain are hidden for 10 seconds. And within 16 meters of a other survivor, like it's just like I would like to see someone actually use this effectively. It's just not a bad perk. It needs a rework definitely. And the rework it needs is probably one that increases its range to 32 or 36, or make it so that instead of your scratch marks, yours and your teammates' scratch marks, pools of blood paints are hidden. Otherwise, it's just not useful at all, and you have no reason to use it. And this is a good perk. It's just like a chest perk for when you're finding things. It's balanced how it is. Only 3 times, it's fine, 8% faster. Very balanced. The Session's honestly a very underrated perk, but honestly a very good perk. I'd say it's probably the best distraction perk in the game, because you can run by a locker, and I think you just interact with it, yeah, while sprinting, and it'll create a loud noise. And the killer will, like, if you're chasing to it, a killer will think like maybe something happened, glitched in, looked in. Very good. Power struggle is also very good. Um, it needs a slight buff, I think. I'd say 50% is fine, and pallets are fine, but also would block like that, like maybe stop the timer for wiggle, or I don't know. You have to do something about it to make it better. So maybe increase your wiggle speed too, maybe by like 5%. But it's just like how it is right now. It's very situational, but is it bad? Visionary makes very little sense. I mean, there's other aura perks you can have, and gens are hard to find. It doesn't even have a map bonus. I would add a map bonus to it, like the other one, maybe 5 seconds. Uh, Honestly, there's nothing else you could really do though, because this perk is just that useful. Maybe instead of having a range, you see all generators' auras, so every single time it generates done, you lose all the auras. That way you can see all the auras that don't have to run around too much, and that make it better. But just 32 meters, and it's just not good. Desert measures is an interesting one. I guess it's fine though. It's probably pretty balanced. It's just a weird one to have on. Built to Last is also a very powerful one, and this is why most people get this character. It basically makes you have 2 full uses and then a 66 use, and if you want to do it again, you can. So if you have like a purple toolbox that has like 100% or I think it's 75% healing speed, you can do that a lot of times and get gens done fast. It's very good, and it's probably very balanced too. I mean, Soul Guard pre-balanced too. Very weird perk, to be honest. A very interesting one, but it's not that bad because it basically gives you endurance when being healed or recover from dying state. It also allows you to recover by yourself whenever there's a hex, which is almost always. Blood Pact is a other weird one. I don't know how good this perk is. On small maps, it's probably way better, but I suppose they, I don't know. There's stuff you really do about this. Maybe increase the range to 20, but even that might be low overpowered. Nothing you can really do to make it balanced. This one's also a weird one. This blocks a generator, so if a killer's going by it, you can block it. It allows it so that the killer can't make it regress, but it's an interesting one, and I guess it is pretty good of a perk too. Lucky Break, it's a weird one, balanced one, but if someone uses it, you definitely feel it, but it's not super overpowered to make it like annoying. But it's not like a weak one either. This one's also very good. It allows you to stand up pallets too. Very good perk. Balance too. Has 66 cooldown. Breakout also very good perk for helping teammates escape. Solidarity. Yeah, this is a great perk. Balance doesn't need any change. Perfectly fine. Let's see. Probably increase its time to 12 seconds, and then balance, and it doesn't need a change. Balance doesn't need a change. These are some quick ones. Balance also doesn't need a change. Deliverance, also pretty balanced. Doesn't really need it to change, except for the base stash effect to 50 seconds. Auto deact, start to it. This one's weird. It needs to change. I'd say start with a minus 15%, because the reality is you're never going to get like every single skill check will hit a survivor receive a token, but you won't really get that many. Maybe 1 or 2. So I guess it's fine, even if you keep the 25. It's just a weird one to use that you probably won't use. DSV balance doesn't need no change. Windows up 2 balance doesn't need no change. Boil over, I'd say it needs a slight change. And I'd increase its hook or stability so the killer can't see it to 20 meters. But honestly, if they don't, it's pre-balanced. Doesn't need a change. Tenacity, it's an interesting one. I'd say it's probably balanced too. I don't think it needs a change. You crawl faster, run away faster, very balanced. Detective's Hunch, balance doesn't need to change. Stakeout, balance doesn't need to change. Man, somebody. Oh, we're almost done. Okay, quit Swift. Yeah, this is pretty fine. It's good. Balance definitely does need to change. Also, this one just gives you extra make it balance doesn't need to change. Visual also perfectly fine, doesn't need to change. These are all good perks. I already have that one. This one's a little weird, but it happens enough that it's useful. Don't need any changes there. This is fine. I think this needs a buff. I'd say it needs a 5% luck to all survivors. I think that's what it needs. Ace in the hole. Also bounce, just very situational. And I think that's all the killers. Yep. So that's all the perks. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below what you guys think. And see all you guys in the next one.